Just gotta get this garrison down. Alrighty, looking good.
I need one squad, go to my tracking marker, clearing it out.
Not enough room.
Okay, can you take care of your upgrade?
There we go. Gary's up. Hey there, welcome on in. This will be my review of the Helios Vietnam playtest over this past weekend. Overall, I got about 20 hours over the 3 days, and I came away with 2 big thoughts. First, the game is in a much better place than the open beta. Performance was solid, most of the worst bugs seemed cleaned up, and yes, it actually feels like HLL, just a little quicker paced. But second, there is one system that, in my opinion, absolutely has to be tuned before launch: tunnels. But before we go any further, let me just say something. I've seen a lot of creators in comments saying this game isn't ready, wait 6 months, 9 months, etc., without literally providing any detail as to why, just these blanket statements. Please, if you're going to say something like that, make it constructive. Imagine you walk into your boss's office and say, "Hey, here's the presentation for later today." And then your boss says, "Oh, it's not ready." You wouldn't just leave without asking any questions. You would ask, why isn't it ready? So please, especially to all the creators out there, give at least a few concrete examples as to why you think it won't be ready. Constructive criticism is what we need more of. Another note is that I think we all have to temper our expectations for what the initial release should be, and balance that with what Team 17 is: a business. I won't be having a financial and economics lesson here, but I will just say this. They are a business, not just a group of developers sitting around in a room with a bunch of empty pizza boxes around, coding away all day with the luxury of time on their side. No. Everplay Group, the parent company, has probably given them a budget and target for this initial release. If they hit that and prove this business case, then they will invest more, and we will all be happy people. They need to show that there is at least legitimate interest in this game before they can develop any more, or add people to their staff. That's all I'm going to say about that. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on this, please drop a comment below and I'll be more than happy to reply. Okay, moving on. Let's start off with the good. Performance was great. Players were getting solid frames, and the weekend felt much smoother than the previous open beta, allowing people to test out all the different mechanics of the game and offer their feedback. Most of the old bugs felt fixed. There are still outliers, of course, but it no longer felt like bugs were the main story. Yes, I know about VoIP, but they know about VoIP and they made a disclaimer about that pre-launch. I have no doubt that that'll get fixed. The map? Well, it opens instantly now. That sounds small, but for Command and SL play, it matters a lot. I just want to get in, see what's going on, and get out. Boats? Boats felt useful. The MVA boats having supplies adds a real tactical layer that I don't think was utilized that often. Mostly because newer players don't see the benefit of placing a deep red zone garrison when the point they're trying to capture is on the opposite side of the map, let alone new players understanding the importance of garrisons at all. Logistics gameplay felt alive. Supply helos, logistics officers, and commander OPs make the team game feel deeper. It offers some offset to the MVA's teleporting tunnel ability. The tunnel animation is nice. From what I tested, you can also hear the tunnels very, very faintly starting at around 100 meters away, which was a nice nerf. You just have to stop moving at times and really listen. Does it feel like Hell Let Loose? Yes, but faster, more mobile, and more logistics driven. Vietnam still feels like Hell Let Loose at its foundation. You still need defense, communication, coordination, garrisons, nodes, commander decisions, and SLs who understand the map. The difference is the tempo. Helicopters and tunnels speed the game up and force teams to react faster than they needed to in World War II. If you are coming from regular HLL, you are not learning a completely new game. You are learning a faster version of Hell Let Loose where logistics and counter-logistics matter even more. Now, I didn't win a lot of games as the USA, maybe 5 out of 40. In those games I did win, it required 3 Helios at least constantly in the sky, dropping supplies, moving troops around, and popping flares. Along with that, you gotta have a solid roaming defense. The SLs have to be reacting to what the Helios are calling out. If they don't, then the NVA just keeps pumping bodies in until they overwhelm the defenders. Now, from what I noticed, the tunnels don't get locked out if the enemy is within 100 meters, like in World War II when a garrison would get locked out if you were within 100 meters. But if you saw something differently, let me know. Once again, I would say it feels like HLL, but the true potential will be seen when we have organized matches, and when everyone gains experience. Right now, everyone is still learning the game, and the quality of the players on either side is extremely hard to judge during a playtest. Switching from offensive warfare back to offensive was probably tough on some players, as they've just gone from 100% attack to suddenly now being told that they have to defend, which can be confusing at times. Just a little side note, for those of you new to HLL that were coming over hoping to jump in a helicopter and carry the team like you can in Battlefield 6, that's just not gonna happen in Hell Let Loose Vietnam. At least yet. Hell Let Loose is a team-oriented game. It's not like Battlefield 6 where you can roam about and dominate and there really isn't much team coordination happening. There is somewhat, but it's pretty chaotic, and that's what makes Battlefield special. I'm not knocking it, it's just the way Battlefield is built, and I like playing Battlefield. When I want to have a totally different change of pace, I go play some Battlefield. The point I'm trying to make is that Hell Let Loose is a much more team-oriented game than Battlefield. Okay, enough of that though. Helicopters in Hell Let Loose Vietnam, they're purely meant for logistics and suppression right now. Until we get something like the Cobra.
Well, very nice.
Then things will get interesting from both a tactical level and a visual animation standpoint. I'm not too sure when that's coming out, but I imagine that's in the roadmap somewhere. Moving on to the biggest issue, tunnels. Here are some of the issues that I have with tunnels. First of all, they're free. The tunnel costs nothing, the NVA can build and experiment without any real trade-off. My bare minimum is have tunnels cost at least 50 supplies in the blue and 100 supplies in the red, just like garrisons. They're just too powerful the way they are. At one point during the game, I was able to travel 800 meters in about 10 seconds,
in a high
which
intensity
was
game,
crazy.
And I am going back and forth with the enemy. Now I'm saying, hey, I need to go help out my buddies on the opposite side of the map. Let me check this out. So I'm gonna pull out my little handy dandy stopwatch. Okay, got a fresh stopwatch here. We're gonna go inside the tunnel. Takes nothing, so I'm not even gonna time that. Now I say, hey, I wanna go up here. You select that tunnel.
What?
You select it, and then we're gonna start a little timer here. As soon as I hit travel.
Another sneaky tunnel there.
You see that timer?
If
we're
there's any
going.
shot, you can maybe move this OP.
Okay, it takes you about 11 seconds.
Here are some suggestions that I have for tunnels to make them work in Vietnam. I don't think they should get rid of them, I just think they need some tweaking. Disconnect-reconnect flexibility. A safe rear garrison can feed multiple frontline tunnel routes, creating near team-wide OP movement. There needs to be some type of global cooldown to disconnecting and reconnecting tunnel networks. It can't just happen willy-nilly whenever the team wants. It's just way too powerful.
As far as I saw, there was no cooldown, but maybe there was and I missed it somewhere. Feel free to let me know in the comments. But what this is going to lead to is that if everyone can flood through constantly, the system can overwhelm defense and create total competitive imbalance. Imagine the USA has held the line so much and all of a sudden the NVA works together with an SL to place a garrison, and then the commander drops an emergency tunnel behind the line, and then they send 2-3 SLs off of that. US has no idea, and then they get 3 OPs, 18 people, and on and on and on and on and on. You know what I'm talking about here. It's just there's too much instant impact that it can have for a competitive gameplay mechanic, even in pub matches. I'm not just talking about the competitive world. Next on my list is that they are too accessible. If every SL can create the most powerful logistics tool, the game loses sort of a role identity here. My suggestion is to limit construction to a specialized role, something like a logistics officer on the NVA side. The Americans have helicopter pilots, the NVA has the tunnel management crew. I don't know. We could come up with the tunnel czar or something. 2 or 3 people responsible for managing the tunnel network on the NVA side, and also the commander as well. Another issue is that the travel is too forgiving. Like I mentioned before, I was able to travel around 800 meters in 10 seconds. We gotta have some standard metric for this. Hear me out. We could start with a baseline of travel time being 7 seconds per 100 meters, just as a minimum to see how it goes. I'm not saying this is a for sure, but we gotta experiment with something when it comes to the travel time. To wrap this up though, tunnels are not invisible magic. You can hear a faint radio sound from roughly 100 meters away, like I said before, and it gets louder as you get closer, obviously. Now, that's a good counterplay starting point. It just needs more balance around cost, cooldown, and travel. If some of those are implemented, I think this has a chance of working out. Now on to other fixes and quality of life improvements. Commander ability markers. Whenever an SL would have a tank marker on the map, I would go to place a precision strike on it, but I couldn't place the precision strike directly on the marker. This just needs to be patched up. VoIP, we all know about VoIP, so I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Tunnel dismantle tip, just a little quick tip. I noticed that when you are dismantling a tunnel, you can only do it via the notepad. You can't have your gun out. Not necessarily a bug, but just maybe have a notepad out first tip or something in order for to remind people to know how you dismantle it. Supply helicopters. I found supply helicopters incredibly useful, although I think there should be a default spawn for them at the bottom HQ. The top and middle, as far as I know, get transport helos, just need a supply helo down to the bottom, and I think we're golden. The helos are super cheap, which means no matter how many times you get taken down, you could pretty much get a fresh one, which is very nice in order to counter the NBA tunnel system. Also, it would be kind of nice if the commander was able to fly in the supply helo. Just a little added bonus maybe. Credit goes to Fuzz Panda for that one. Now let's talk about the weather. Just like in World War II, I imagine they'll be adding some type of dynamic rain and thunderstorms to the maps, as when you think of that area of the world, you think of heavy rains in the jungle. And here's how important weather was in Vietnam. The US literally experimented with cloud seeding under Operation Popeye, trying to increase rainfall over enemy supply routes and turn roads into mud. Here's a little quote. During the test phase, more than 50 cloud seeding experiments were conducted. The results are viewed by DoD as outstandingly successful. 82% of the clouds seeded produced rain within a brief period after seeding, a percentage appreciably higher than normal expectation in the absence of seeding. The amount of rainfall induced by seeding is believed to have been sufficient to have contributed substantially to rendering vehicular routes in this area inoperable. Since the end of the rainy season, the communists have failed to undertake route repairs and there has been no vehicular traffic. Pretty crazy, huh? I attached the link in the description if you want to read more about that. Adding a 1x zoom ability to the map. Yes, I would love to be able to get into the map, see everything at once, and which areas I need to focus on. Right now, you kind of have to go in and pan around over and over to really get a good grasp. Just need to add that 1x zoom and I think it'll be chef's kiss. Boat explosions could also use some beefing up in terms of VFX. Right now, it's kind of lacking a little bit. When it comes to the in-game chat, I think the text box needs to be expanded by around 20 characters or something. It just would be nice to add simple things like please or thank you at the end of what you're trying to say. Little bit of a bonus request, but fighting in the tunnels would add an extra layer here. Unfortunately, they've already said during the dev briefs that they won't be going that route. But maybe in the future we can hope for it. Moving on to the competitive scene. In World War II, the competitive world revolves around the line strat. You cover map edge to map edge for the most part, prevent the enemy from leaking through, knock out their edge vehicles, and stomp out their airheads. Then you duke it out for a while, waiting for the enemy's big push. In Vietnam, I don't think this will be the case anymore. In World War II, MGs are able to cover a lot of ground from one certain position. Don't see this really happening in Vietnam. There will be a lot more places to sneak by. Tunnels and helis will add another dimension of moving throughout the map, which will make defense have a higher allocation of bodies than it did before. The MVA will have to have machine gunners in the back, watching for Helios at any given time. And quick redeploys with RPGs will be extremely necessary to find where the Americans hot-dropped SLs and perhaps take out the Huey that's flying by. What I'm trying to say is that the map will be a very confusing situation most of the time. Commanders will have somewhat of a feel for what's going on, but won't be able to get as nearly comfortable as they had in World War II, since the situation can change rapidly at any time. Now, what kind of cool tactics do I see being used? I could talk about a few examples. Bombing runs covering helo landings. Think about pushing into a point and desperately needing reinforcements. The commander can drop a bombing run and time it so the helos move in right as it's dropping, kind of like in this clip here, the same one that I showed during the opening.
I need one squad, go to my checking marker, clean it out.
I can also see a good helo pilot in clutch time flying really low on the water or on the map edge to help avoid detection and quickly dropping an SL way behind enemy lines. I can also see teams adding a river defense crew. People responsible for patrolling the river, catching boats, people swimming by. Could be a very challenging part of defense. Because just imagine, I can totally see an SL diving out of a patrol boat and swimming to safety, going undetected by the enemy after staying underwater for a long time with just brief trips up for more air. Then all of a sudden they're able to make it to the backline. Overall though, I do think there's an opportunity for a competitive scene in Vietnam. Just need some tweaks to the tunnels like I mentioned before, and then we could see where the dust settles after that. From the American standpoint though, you're likely going to need 3 dedicated helicopter crews. Transport helos moving SLs to react to pressure, supply helos constantly feeding garrisons and team movement, conservative LZs, backline routes, quick in and out drops, avoiding predictable AA angles. All those things are going to be very cool to watch. A really good helo pilot is going to be worth their weight in gold when it comes to roster time. For the MVA, tunnel management becomes a full strategic layer. Which tunnels stay connected, which ones rotate, and how safe rear garrisons feed forward pressure. What I mean by that is safe rear garrisons connected to multiple frontline tunnels, creating semi-garrison movement across the map, unless of course they nerf them. When it comes to defense, I fully expect a heavier defensive commitment being required than in World War II. In World War II, you may see a 10-90 defense-offense split. In Vietnam, I could easily see that becoming 20-80 or even 25-75. And I'm talking about both sides here. Maybe leaning more towards the American side because of the tunnels, but also the MVA are going to have to watch out for those helos. Overall for the defense, though, it's going to be about tunnel hunting, counter-flank squads, and keeping your eyes to the sky for those helos, especially on the map edge. When it comes to armor warfare, really can't comment on that right now because we only have one tank for each side. Until they add more variety, I don't know how big of an impact it's going to have with just the one type of tank. We'll see though, we'll see. Just to wrap it up though, if tunnels stay as is, I don't think competitive Vietnam will work long term. But if the devs make some changes that we've already talked about, I could definitely see it becoming a really interesting competitive scene. Like I said though, After the tweaks to the tunnels, we got to see how the dust settles, get some intro for competitive teams, and just see how the matches work. Overall, I had a lot of fun learning the new map, constantly flying around and thinking about ways the USA could beat the NBA. In World War II, teams could go a little while during the opening without playing too much defense, since you can theoretically see everyone trying to go for your defensive point, unless the enemy airheads, of course. But with the tunnels, a good NBA SL and commander combo can be lethal. You have a back garrison, then a forward SL tunnel, and then a commander emergency tunnel behind the line. A coordinated NBA team could probably get 20 people back there very fast and cause significant cap weight, thus undoing everything that the USA had built up to that point. Those are all my notes as of right now for the competitive scene, and I think that's going to be a wrap, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know if you have any questions or thoughts down below, and I'll try to get you a voice reply to your comment. But once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one, buddy.